Also a Marine. And I want to first say thank you very much for letting me be here and take part in this, even though I'm not a tin knocker. I grew up in a household and my baby food was paid for with tin knockers' wages, but I'm not one. And I've been attending this particular function for quite a while now, several years. And there's also been a lot of stuff going on with you guys over the last decade or so. And I've been coming here, and you guys have always been very welcoming to me. And even though I may not be one of your brothers as far as in being a sheet metal, I feel like when I come into a room like this, you guys have always welcomed me and been very friendly with me. Again, regardless of the political state of the union and all the other crap that goes on. So I just want to say thank you for that, first off. Secondly, I want to say thank you because, I don't know if everyone knows, but the Veterans Committee is donating $500 to Salute, which is a charity that's near and dear to my heart, and one that I'm actually on a board for. So thank you for that. I'll tell you a little bit about Salute, and then I don't want to take up too much of your guys' time. But Salute's a charity that matters to me because when our family needed something, they were there. And you hear this a lot, and you see this, these non-for-profits and these charities that are out there nowadays. Some of them, I think it's safe to say, have kind of lost focus of what the point of these organizations like this are for. Salute is not one of those organizations. When you start hearing about people graduating from Northwestern, University of Chicago, Yale, Stanford, with degrees that they're spending $250,000 on to do non-for-profit administration, you have to wonder, why would someone do that, right? Well, apparently because there's good money to be made in running these non-for-profit organizations. Again, Salute's not one of those. So the story goes as this. There was my brother-in-law, who some of you have met, after he was hurt in Afghanistan, and he made his way through surgeries in hospitals, he eventually landed in Walter Reed. The large establishment out there, I believe it's technically Virginia, but whatever, that area. And while he was laid up there, he was getting packages from these non-for-profits and these veteran organizations. And one of them he opened up, and it was a big hoodie, like a hooded sweatshirt, and had a big logo on the back of it, right? And also inside it was a little bumper sticker for his truck, or a little window decal for his truck with the logo of that organization on it. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool, right? If I was handing out hoodies, there would be a line as long as that food was for getting hoodies, right? I mean, I get it, that's a great gift, but really, the point of why he was reached was because he was wounded. Because he had something happen to him, then they wanted to assist him in that. So Kirk, if any of you know him, like I do, he's a planner. He's always 5 steps ahead of everything. So he's laying in his hospital bed for 24 hours a day after his 12th surgery or whatever it might have been. And he's saying, he calls this organization and sends them the hoodie and says, I'm interested in my plan. I know that looking at my body and looking at my leg, I know that I have to plan for my exits. Can you help me? And that request fell on deaf ears. Nothing came out of that, other than a hoodie that had a logo the length of his back, and a sticker from the driver on his truck advertising that he was hurt. And but then there's this other charity, this small one out of Palatine, Illinois, that reached out to my sister and said, we want to help you. We heard what happened, a local veteran wounded. What can we do for you? And she says, I don't know, I'm just scared. We don't know what's happening. So I said, let's do something for you. We're going to pay off your bills this month. And just to give you one less thing to worry about. That's why we're going to do it. Because you got your plate full, and it's one more thing to take off of it. So I hear these guys, and I think, wow, who's the group that did this? Talking to my sister, she's crying on the phone. And we're criers in the Terranova family. I don't know if you guys knew that. But I'm talking to my sister, and she's crying, and she says to me, yeah, it's this group called Salute. So I started looking and seeing what these guys are all about. Last year they raised $750,000. And they paid for a family in North Carolina's mortgage payment. A couple $1,000. Let's just call it $2,000. And started looking at the other financials of this other organization that sent the hoodies. And they made $158 million last year, and they're buying hoodies and giving bumper stickers to people. So needless to say, when I found myself in my profession, and I wanted to take the time, some of my free time, and start giving back, there was no doubt I knew where I was going. It was Salute, because I want to be part of an organization that didn't forget the focus of what non-for-profits are for, doesn't forget the mission, doesn't lose sight of why we do this. And it's because when people have something and they can give, that what they give needs to go to what their purpose is for that gift. That makes sense. You're giving to a veteran organization so that that money ends in a veteran's pocket. Some of these organizations you hear, that $750,000 that we operate on, are some of the salaries of these individuals at these other organizations. So I bring this all on. I'm not trying to slam everyone else, but I bring this just to let you know that this check that you guys are given is making a difference. It's not going to get clouded in BS and administrative costs. It's going to be put in veterans' pockets. Our program is, if you're wounded in war, whether the last two is what our current program is, so Operation Enduring Freedom, Operation Iraqi Freedom, you request something from us, and we give it to you. There is no parameters over specifically what we'll give you. You ask for it, and if we can do it, we do it. We get calls from guys, double amputees, that say, you know what I used to do? I used to ride my bike everywhere. So we found a way to make it to get an adaptive bike, and we bought that guy an adaptive bike so he could ride his bike. So if you're curious what the program is and how it works, that's all it is. If you need something, reach out to us. If we can do it, we will. And it's things like this, and guys like you, and gals like you, that allow us to do that. So I just want to tell you from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for everything, and know that your money is going to good cause, and not going just into someone else's bank account. So thank you again, and I really appreciate you.